Hey everyone, welcome to Remedy This Podcast, episode 5. I'm Jay here with Tempest, and we're excited to get into this.
Yeah, let's remedy this.
Let's do it.
Okay, well, first up, we want to make sure that everybody is aware of our new channel name because we did change things up a bit. So now we have everything podcast and videos because we're making videos. It's just something we're used to, and it's fun. So everything will be on this channel, Remedy This Podcast Plus.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think it'll make things easier
It will.
for people to find us.
And we'll still have target fixation gaming.
Yeah.
So that will be like our older videos. We're moving some of our, most recent videos to Remedy This Podcast Plus. So that's going to be starting on the 19th. It'll be Tuesdays at 9 p.m. So
Yeah,
this next Sunday we won't have one. It'll start Tuesday.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a better time slot as well. People are getting ready for the week on Sunday, and with
Yeah,
Tuesday.
so it's kind of a bad time.
Yeah.
Yeah, low traffic. But yeah, so we're also going to do our live streams and gameplay and all that all on this channel. So I think that'll work.
I think
that'll be a lot better. And regarding our video timeline, I'm calling it right now Beyond the Lore, but I think it might be better to do Behind the Lore because it has to do with inspiration, where certain ideas came from, maybe for Remedy games and maybe other things, but it has a lot to do with Twin Peaks. And so what we're going to do is I have a target completion date of the 14th of this month, and we're going to start the Remedy Connected Universe series probably after the release date. So that, because I think that the more information we get, the better theory crafting we can do, and we can also revisit some things in the meanwhile and get some good videos out of it.
Yeah, sounds good. So, Tempest, the other day you told me that Remedy had sold 6 million copies of Control. That's pretty cool.
That is really cool and exciting because more people are going to be familiar with Control now that Control Resonant is going to be coming out. So that's going to be nice.
Yeah, that's a lot of copies.
You know what we should do? We should buy copies of Control and just start handing them out to people, like random people on the street, or go through drive-thrus and be like, "Yo, do you like video games? Have you ever played this?" Just give them out.
Yeah, it could be their tip.
Exactly. We can go to a restaurant, leave one. As long as we know that they like video games, we can just leave it on the table. But leave some cash underneath. Put some cash in there and a copy of Control or Alan Wake.
I think it'd be much appreciated.
I think we should do it and we should film it.
I think so.
Why not?
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I might go on X and take a poll. Should we do it? Should we do it or not?
Yeah, I think we should ask and see what everyone says.
Yeah, before we start spending a bunch of cash on Remedy games, we're going to hand out to strangers.
Yeah.
So what do we got next?
So Remedy also released a picture of Zoe, Dylan's handler in Control Resonant.
It looks to me like concept art. And I wonder if she's going to end up but that's going to be her style, when the game comes out. Because I think it looks great. But like I said, it looks like concept art. It's early stages.
Yeah, but I definitely think it's cool that they released that because during the trailers we've only heard her voice. We haven't heard or seen anything of what she looks like. So that's really cool.
There's not a whole lot of context with that picture, but I mean, hey, it's something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So that'll be interesting. I really want to see what comes out after Summer Game Fest, or after the release date. Once the release date is all right, let's keep our eyes glued to X or whatever social media, and make sure we know what's going on, because I'm sure a lot of information will be tidbits will be thrown at us.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if they gave us a whole slew of information during Summer Game Fest, and I'm excited for that to come.
Yep, yeah, me too. And speaking of Summer Game Fest, we know that they have Control in there. At least in the ad, they had a spot with Dylan. So we'll go ahead and show that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to be awesome. But they didn't show a whole lot, just a little sneak peek. So hopefully we'll see, a little bit more. But yeah, so that is going to be on Friday, June 5th, 2 p.m. PT, 5 p.m. ET, and 9 p.m. GMT, whatever the hell that means. I forget. Jay, you know.
I think it's Greenwich Mean Time. Don't quote me on that.
Okay, we won't quote you. It's GMT. Let's just stick with that, right? Mm-hmm. It's easy, and whoever's in the time zone will understand. So now the financial report that came out. Apparently, they have a new project in production.
That's cool.
Some people think it's going to be Alan Wake 3. We talked about this. We think it's going to be something more geared towards like a Quantum Break type thing.
I think so. I mean, Quantum Break came out in 2016, and I think that Remedy would have a lot more to work with versus Alan Wake. I mean, Alan Wake came out a few years ago. I think they
soon.
Yeah, pretty soon. I think they've exhausted kind of all they can, at least for now.
For now. Yeah.
But I would be excited if it was more of a Quantum Break type.
That theme.
Yeah.
Yeah. And bringing in the characters that they've kind of like reimagined. Mm-hmm. I think repurpose would be the wrong word, but reimagined. So like, Tim Breaker, obviously Jack Joyce, right? Mm-hmm. But in the agent, Beth Wilder, Jesse. So we've been over that, of course. And I think that honestly, that's probably what we're going to get because of this.
It's awesome to be doing this with you again, Sam.
Sean, it's so good to have you back. We've been dreaming about this for so long, and now finally we are making Timebreaker, the video game. It's happening.
Yeah, and FMV as well. That's so cool.
Of course. That was part of the previous game as well.
So yeah, if that doesn't give it away, I don't know what will. I mean, that sounds a lot. They're talking about making a game. This is in this section of Timebreaker, they're making a game and they're explaining everything.
Yeah, that's really cool. So the next big thing happening in the Remedy-verse, I know you know, is Phasmophobia.
Yeah.
And yeah, it releases Tuesday the 12th, so that's coming up soon.
Yeah. What are we gonna do?
Play it.
Aside from playing it, are we gonna stay? Are you gonna take the day off work? Or are we gonna just shut everyone out and play together?
I think so. I think I'm going to call in sick. I'm just gonna happen to come down, with a bug then. So
yeah. Just tell them you gotta go ghost hunting, and your boss will understand.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, which is the theme, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't know who we're gonna be hunting as ghost hunters. Now I'm assuming when they say investigators, and actually, why don't we just go ahead and play the little trailer?
Yeah.
Everywhere the investigator looked, there were signs of two worlds colliding. Glimpses into a mystery, clues that teased, out-of-place objects and signs, yet nothing that revealed it fully. This was a story told somewhere else, where the pages of the manuscript had been written, from where the writer of the story was desperately reaching for the light. And with that act, he was threatening to spill out the darkness of his prison. A writer by the name of Alan Wake.
So yeah, maybe we'll be hunting for Alan Wake, but I think there's a possibility we're gonna hunt for maybe if we're really ghost hunting for someone in Bright Falls or whoever. The only people that I can think of that have gone missing that we don't know, that we talk about, we remember, would be Tammy Booker and Dr. Campbell.
Yeah.
The nursery rhyme dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he disappeared.
Yeah.
Those two did.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who we do end up going ghost hunting for. But yeah, it would be cool if Dr. Campbell did make an appearance.
Yeah, because he's an asshole, and I'd like to know what happened to him. Hopefully something awful, right?
Yeah, he is kind of a douche.
Well, yeah. He, all those nursery rhymes. Actually, that one we were talking about the one with the bear, like kind of like, what is it? That cartoon, Beauty and the Beast? Is that right? Yeah. It's like that. And then when you complete the puzzle, you hear like this woman screaming and stuff. And then you go up into the cabin and it's like, remember, it's like all set up all romantic and stuff. And there's a picture of them getting married. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is, I don't know what to make of this. Is this like some kind of weird, I don't know what, if I want to say the word, but it's pretty disturbing, I think.
Yeah, I know. When I first encountered that, I was kind of taken aback.
They had champagne, roses on the bed. I'm like, dude, no. No, okay, so maybe we'll see what happened to him. I think he's got something coming to him.
I think so. I think he'll get his comeuppance.
Right. Yeah, I just want to see what the dude looks like, too. You know, like, if, you know, and he's, of course, with the FBC, so that gives us even more reason to not like the FBC.
That's right. So, Tempest, there's been a lot of chatter circulating on X about Dr. Darling, and he seems to have landed on a lot of people's shit list.
Well, you know that.
No. I know that both of us share the same opinion that Darling is a less than desirable guy, to put it nicely.
Yeah, he's not popular right now.
No. But I wanted to play some devil's advocate on the subject of Dr. Darling.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, my first point here is Dr. Darling, he's not inherently a bad person. He just makes bad choices. Like, you know,
that's what we're talking about, though, is the bad choices.
Right.
Not the root of who he is, necessarily. I mean, you know, Control makes it very clear. They make it very clear that, like, the people that work there, they're laser focused on on the science.
Right.
Like, look at Emily. She's like, she doesn't care about anything. Remember, in the foundation, she's like, this is my vacation. They're just so committed and so, like, they have tunnel vision. So, is what you're saying then that aside from that, he's not like a jerk or just a mean, vicious, terrible person that's vindictive and awful. You know, what we would think of a normal person that's not a scientist.
Yeah, exactly. That so for the first point I wanted to make was Emily. I mean, we both think she's a bitch, right?
Well, she turns into one, yeah. After she gets appointed as head of research, she has a change of attitude, yeah.
Yeah. She tells that subordinate, like, don't ever touch my stuff again.
Yeah,
so,
I think we've been over that in another video, yeah.
And, you know, one of the conversations that, I know I'm kind of deviating from Dr. Darling, but this kind of circles back. But yeah, one of the conversations that Emily had with Jesse is that, you know, she was pissed at Darling for withholding some information. She's like, I can't do my job if he's withholding this information from me. But Darling, I mean, whether this is bullshit or not, Darling had said that, you know, this is for your own safety.
He told her that?
Yeah. It was like, I don't know if that was verbatim, but it was...
he told her about volatile material.
Yeah. And so, you know, whether that was the reason or not, I mean, Emily was still pissed about it. But if it was truly, you know, for her safety, I mean, I don't think that was inherently a bad thing. I mean, yes, she did need that info in order to do her job. But then it's like later, like we were just talking about, she tells her subordinates, don't ever touch my stuff. But it's like, what if it's the same thing with them? What if the subordinates, in order to do their job, they need to have that information?
Yeah, I think the one thing that you're missing is she was supposed to be Dr. Darling's successor. So, like, if something happened to Dr. Darling, there has to be someone to take his place. And that was going to be Emily. You know, like, that's not said exactly, but who else is it going to be, right? He took everybody else with him, you know, Hubert and Carla and everyone he left. She was the only one that he left behind.
Right.
And he didn't say that he was doing to protect her. In the note, he said, or the, you know, collectible document, it basically insinuates that he doesn't think she could handle it. He's like, a
Right.
lot of, you know, we don't know what's going to come out of there. You know, let's keep her where the work is like more predictable. But yeah, the impression that I got is that he wasn't necessarily protecting her for safety as much as he was for her to be his successor if something happened.
Right.
Which then she would gain access to his research and everything like she did.
Yeah, or she did eventually. And, you know, another thing, too, is, you know, Darling was the one that brought her on to the FBC. So, I mean, he's the one that saw potential in her. It's like, so, I mean, yeah, she can be upset that he did kind of withhold that information, but just the fact that he saw that in her, that he thought that she would be a good person to work at the FBC, kind of, you know, means that Darling, you know, is kind of like I said, like not inherently a bad person.
I mean, you can look at it this way too. The FBC is a dangerous place to work, and they all know it. So he's going out and recruiting, and he did this with Underhill too. I don't know, maybe he's, you know, trying to get to the ladies somehow, but the college girls. Yeah. But he he knows what kind of place this is. Again, volatile material and all the other things. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go out. I'm going to like pick out this girl, and you know, they don't know what they're going to get themselves into, but you know, I'm willing to take that risk and just bring them on in, and then I'll tell them later, you know.
Right.
I don't know. I think he's just he could be just taking the most committed, the most like-minded. So he's probably scouting for like like-minded individuals,
right,
that are in, you know, science, that are focused like he is, laser focused, tunnel vision on their job, like so much so that, like, remember Darling's like, I'm not ever going home, you know, like that, and like I said in Emily before, she's like, I'm on vacation, you know, she's working, this is my vacation, you know, this is all I do, this is all I want.
Right. Yeah, no, and I can absolutely see that, because both Emily and Underhill are very much like Darling. They're very laser focused, and
but is it worth putting them in danger?
Yeah,
you know, you're putting them in danger. And so if they do it willingly, though, is it still right to even ask them?
Right. Yeah. So it's hard to know. I mean, you know, if they knew what they were getting into before, it would be kind of a different story. You know, say if people that work on, say, an oil rig or something, or any other kind of dangerous job,
you know,
they know what they're getting into. But yeah, with the FBC, it is hard to know. But
and who knows how much he actually explains.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, this building might actually crush you.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't know what information that these people are privy to. So
we
it's
don't know
hard to
a
say.
lot of information, which makes it hard to determine, you know, or even have an opinion sometimes about some of these things, because it's like, well, you can say Darling, you know, was a certain way, but then all we see is the presentations, which they're probably scripted and, you know, acted out. You know, you're not gonna, if you're having a shitty day, you're not gonna go on camera and present yourself as you're having a shitty day while telling people welcome to the FBC. You know, like, you know, those are, you know, acting. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I guess with the exception of, say, the one where he's just absolutely hammered.
Yeah, that was, I think, the closest, besides the ones where he's actually afraid.
Right.
That's the closest I think we see to any other side of him. And even when he's drunk, he's kind of flippant.
Yeah, you know? Exactly.
He doesn't, it's not that he doesn't seem to care. I just don't think it seems like he cares enough. You know, he's going to be going on his thing, going on his journey, doing whatever it is that he's doing, and it's like, okay, well, hopefully I'll save some people with these life preservers.
Exactly. Life preservers for something classified.
Yeah, classified, not water.
Yeah, exactly.
So but just back to your point about not being, you know, like a jerk or like just a bad person. You know, there was that one memo that he wrote to everybody about the sand, the red sand that we had posted about. And he doesn't sound like a very nice guy in that.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
Like, if you touch my sand, you're going to be licking envelopes for the rest of your life looking at a cat poster or whatever it was. It's like, do not touch my sand.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, don't touch the sand. So, you know, that wasn't a nice side to him.
Right.
And it didn't seem jokey either. So
Yeah, no, it definitely seemed like in that memo he was pretty pissed, and like you
but
said,
who's not going to clean up sand?
yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, how would they know?
Yeah,
So
but like we had said, we don't see a lot of
No.
Dr. Darling, so a lot of my arguments here are just kind of speculation, but yeah, like, I mean, granted, anyone could get pissed, and about maybe he really cares about the sand. I don't know, but
I don't remember seeing a collectible from anyone else that took that kind of tone
Right.
with people. You know, like a whole department or whatever. Overall,
yeah,
threatening them and just. Don't touch my sand.
Yeah.
Big bold
Yeah,
letters.
exactly.
And it was like didn't even he just.
yeah, it just kind of went off.
It was, yeah, and I don't know if like maybe that's when he was starting to lose it. I don't know, but it actually kind of sounded like it would have been in the beginning because it was new to everyone.
Yeah, and so my next point here is Darling was misguided when it came to Dylan. I think he had good intentions, but he just went about them the wrong way. I know we had mentioned on one of our previous podcasts where he gave the excuse for Dylan when he killed Roberts, boys will be boys.
I don't think that was an excuse. I think it was denial.
And I think Darling kind of took Dylan under his wing and felt more or less responsible for him. And I'm not sure, we obviously don't know a whole lot about Darling. We don't know if he has any kids, a family, or anything.
I don't think he does.
Yeah.
It's never mentioned.
Yeah, it's never mentioned. And I wonder, say he doesn't have a family, and maybe Dylan's the closest thing that he has to a son, and he took him under his wing, really wanted him to be director, but he did just go about it the wrong way.
Well, okay, so then like say you have a son or like a surrogate child, or it doesn't even have to be a son. Like, if you really care about that person as a person, why would you refer to them as a lost cause? He didn't say, when the thing didn't work out for the Prime Candidate program, he didn't say the whole project was for nothing.
Right.
Dylan isn't fit. He said Dylan is a lost cause. Dylan as a person, as a whatever he was looking at him as, not an experiment so much as a project, something that he was trying to create. Because remember, he's got to save everything, right? And who's to say that the board would have appointed him as director in the first place?
Yeah.
So when you refer to a person as a lost cause, that doesn't speak to me as like that person really, if someone were to say that, I wouldn't think they actually cared about that person.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a good point about the board, and it's... I wonder if Darling was thinking that, they have all the prime candidates and, maybe he really did want Dylan to be the director. I don't even know if he even gave the board a second thought. And it's interesting because before Northmore, it was a completely different process for appointing a director. Ash's dad, like, he didn't go through the board.
Right.
So.
But see, Dr. Darling, like, he was all about the board too. Like, in the presentations, he's like, everything connected to the board.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting that he, it seems like he's really pushing for Dylan to be director. But
there's no guarantee.
But there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, how do you feel about the investigation? This is from Kirkland. It's about the Prime Candidate program, and it's I think this is the one. Let me just see, because I'm going through my notes. There's a couple of them. There's a couple Darling like investigation sort of thing, and actually no. How about this one? Because we addressed the other one last time where there was like two like prime candidates or two. Like it sounded like they brought in two children.
Right.
But this one is this is an internal investigation from Kirkland, and it's an ethical practices of Dr. Darling, and it's talking about some anonymous employees regarding inhumane treatment of course redacted, currently housed in the Bureau. It didn't say what department or anything like that. It just says the Bureau. And the findings were inconclusive because they couldn't get enough information out of anyone.
Right.
And they probably couldn't even find anything because, remember, dimensional research, you have to go through the ashtray maze. It's difficult to get to and hidden and very top secret. So
Right.
it says that, they ran into obstacles, it says. And majority of redacted sector personnel seem to be wholly unaware, which makes sense with the dimensional research thing. And then, let's see, there's a code name, 2B, and it's not saying P6 because the redaction is pretty long. So, it's probably Hedron. But it says, all files pertaining to that name were inaccessible. Being classified under the highest clearance level, investigators were similarly blocked from entering the redacted research wing. So I'm thinking in the dimensional research wing to interview its staff. The matter was further complicated by the lack of clarity on whether non-human paranatural entities warranted human treatment. And I'm thinking they're talking about Hedron.
Yeah.
And so, guys, remember that it was all locked up in the that sphere or whatever thing it was. I forgot what they call it, but
Yeah.
I guess the shape, when they call it Hedron. But it says while the investigation cannot address any charges against Dr. Darling, we do recommend an investigation into and then redacted research. So I'm guessing dimensional research. But, so yeah. Some people felt that there were some shady things going on that, and this is about, whether or not he is being ethical to someone or something.
Right.
If he's, treating someone, or in this case, something in a way that's, it says humane. I don't think they're aware of what type of treatment this, entity or this person or this thing, whatever they're talking about, because again, a lot of heavy redactions, they don't know.
Yeah.
And they can't get there, so they can't do anything really. So, that's something to think about too.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe the inhumane treatment is exposing himself.
I'd say that's very inhumane.
He's exposing himself to Hedron. People are like, dude.
Hedron's like, no, I don't want to see
I
that.
don't want to see it again. But a lot of people think that Dr. Darling's pretty hot. I've heard that a lot. Like, hey, he must work out like Zane.
Yeah, right.
Zane, what ways is like, oh, you're swole.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think that was probably based off fan reaction.
Probably,
to Darling's
yeah.
physique. Yeah,
that was pretty hilarious, I'll have to admit.
So what do you think about the isolation and Dr. Darling, like, just turning his back on him, not coming to visit him anymore, and sending in other people knowing that he was a dangerous person?
Right. So, yeah, that actually came to my next point. So, kind of along the lines of, not being inherently bad, but going about it the wrong way. And I think, like we mentioned earlier, Darling was blinded, just blind ambition, and would do whatever it takes when it comes to science. Kind of like means justify the ends. Unfortunately, it involved Dylan.
A child?
Yeah, a child. And unfortunately, because, of that blind ambition, it did hurt him. I don't think Darling intended for that to happen. Just the way that the way that Darling is wired, that was the unintended consequence.
Of an experiment that was meant to do what? Like, I guess we have to think back further to whether or not it was okay, whether it was justified, and for what reason for them to take Dylan in the first place.
Right, yeah.
They kidnapped him. So what did they do? Like, there would have to be some kind of information, which we don't have yet, and maybe there won't ever be, that says a good reason why they took him. And I mean, I'm sure they didn't just look at him and say, hey, he looks like he could be a prime candidate.
Right, yeah.
Did they see something? Did they? But remember, quite a while ago, and I know we did this in a video, I had mentioned that people that are involved in AWEs tend to end up at the FBC.
Right. Yeah.
So people in that came from an AWE like Bright Falls. Remember, Sarah Breaker isn't there anymore. We could see her later at the FBC. The metrologist, the backwards water slide guy, like a lot of people. So we might even see Saga there at some point, which I think would be really cool. So they kind of have a habit of taking people that have been involved in AWEs, maybe to keep them quiet, maybe for some other reason. They have a useful skill that they could put them to work, whatever. But Dylan, is it just based off of what he saw and they don't want him to repeat it? Like, who's going to believe a kid like that anyway, right?
Right.
Do they really have anything to worry about? Nobody believed Jesse. So, I mean, like, they have to have a really, really good reason for taking a child from society at 10 years old and doing anything to him at all. Giving him an education without a proper teacher. And then there's also no peers, no interaction with anyone other than scientists and researchers, studying him and trying to teach him to do things that maybe he wasn't meant to.
Right, yeah.
Maybe this wasn't meant for him, and maybe that's why it's so out of control of what was forced on him. And so I think that the root of it has to start with, did they have the right to do this in the first place?
Right. Yeah, and, I really hope that Remedy does, have some sort of DLC or something to give us information, more information.
The ordinary story.
Yeah, the ordinary story. Because, a lot of that, like why did they think that it was okay to take Dylan? Why did they, want to go after Jesse and, say if they did take her or if they let her go? And it's interesting, too, because after this happened, after they take Dylan, Dr. Darling had said in one of his presentations that, or not his presentations, but one of the videos that he made, that Dylan has Northmore level readings. And it's like, that seems more than just a coincidence. An AWE happens, they snatch up this little boy, and then bam, he's got like Northmore level readings. It's like, I'd be curious if during that AWE or after the AWE happened in Ordinary, if there was some sort of indicator that, like, oh shit, we need to get this kid. Like, he's gonna be one hell of a director someday.
Right. Yeah, there's to our knowledge nothing that suggested that there was any reason for them to take him for their cause.
Right.
So I mean, and I know this is a game, it's a story, there's supposed to be, extension of disbelief and all that kind of thing, but if you really want to go back, and if you want to debate the ethics and whether or not this was okay, you have to start there. Was it okay to take him?
Right. Yeah, and I really do hope that Remedy does come out with some sort of information about that.
Because he could have grown up in an environment where maybe it was with a relative, or maybe it was in, heaven forbid, like, foster care or something like that. Maybe he would have been adopted. Who knows? But now he is, his personality was described as volatile or something. Did it say volatile? He's volatile material now, with a possible bomb strapped onto his head or implants it into his head or whatever. I mean, what the fuck? Really? So it's like they took him as an innocent child, put him through hell, isolated him, and now he's the bad guy, at least in their eyes. He's not only the bad guy, but he's also, it seems like, their only hope to save humanity. So he wakes up from his coma, whatever, and they put him straight to work. It's like, you got to do this, or I don't know how it's going to go, but he's obviously fighting the fight. And I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know if Emily's still sitting in her office looking at research.
Right.
I have a feeling she's not. I have a feeling actually about Emily, like she could be one of the residents, because there's one in there that kind of looks like it could be, but also there's kind of like a hint in Control that she has possibly some abilities. And that's when she can hear Ati before his singing.
Right.
When he opens the elevator, she hears it before Jesse does.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And no one else hears it. No one else out in, the central executive that are working out there on the control point and everything.
Yeah.
But she can hear it.
Yeah, so I mean, I would be curious if she is in control. I mean, they're in that preview. She did look a lot like Emily.
Yeah, it's the dancer, right?
Yeah,
and
the
like
dancer.
there's this part where she kind of puts her head back and it looks like Emily's hair. It looks like her arms, it looks like her shirts, with those
Right.
triangles, it's like triangular shape, pressed really neatly. I mean, it looks like it could be her. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But, so Dylan is like, looks like maybe it's, Jesse's gone, which it bums me out because I wish that they could meet, while he's not his corrupted,
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
And, like have a proper meeting. That may never happen. Who knows? Or it could happen like way later, but obviously it's not going to happen for a while because, well, I can't say that because we haven't played the game.
Right.
They could meet at the very end. I don't
Yeah.
know. But, I mean, yeah, you got to feel bad for this guy.
Yeah.
Even if, say, because I'm really interested to know what he's like. Not just what he can do, but how, this volatile behavior or whatever. I can't remember how they put it, but I think that's what it was. That, he, I just want to kind of get a feel for how he is as a person himself. Because he never really got to be a person.
Right.
And, because he definitely wasn't treated like one, but like is he going to be, they said that he seems to have a desire to connect with people. Is he going to be able to do that? Is there going to be someone in the game that he can actually trust, that he develops a bond with? Now there's Zoe, his handler, which I hate that word. It makes him sound like a wild animal, right? Maybe they see him that way, but who's to blame for that, But yeah, his handler, she sounds pleasant, but who do we trust at the FBC for real?
Yeah.
And I know he communicates with her by radio. We don't know yet if they'll ever meet face to face because we again haven't played the game. So that'll be interesting to see if he develops any kind of relationship with anyone, or if he just steers clear, or kind of backs off. If he does feel himself getting too attached to someone or whatever, the psychology of this is really interesting, and that's what I'd like to do. And I'm working on. This is a surprise even to you. Actually, have you ever seen those videos of psychologists react to?
No, I haven't seen those.
Okay, so this you have, it could be anything, but they have psychologists that react to video game characters.
Okay.
And they, it's not like about diagnosing, but they'll say, okay, they'll play the game sometimes, even, without you just telling about it. A lot of times they'll play the game, and they'll be like, they'll give their professional opinion on this person's psyche. And why they're the way they are, and from what did they experience, you know what I mean, led to whatever, and they're really cool. So they've had like psychologists react to James Sunderland,
Nice.
And so yeah, I'm working on making that happen. We will see. Sometimes these guys can be not only hard to get hold of, not all of them, but to ask them, hey, well, I can either give you all the information or you can play the game. I have a feeling that they probably want to play the game instead of just taking your word for everything and like form their own opinion. So I just have to find the right person that's available. And if we can get a psychologist reacts video, I think that would be super cool.
That would, yeah. No, I would absolutely love to hear, the professional opinion of a certified psychologist and to see what they say.
Yeah, I think that would be so much fun.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I mean, gosh, I think that when it comes down to it, I think most people are on the same page. I haven't really talked to anybody who's like been middle of the road even.
Right.
I think what did it for people is the implant. Dylan goes through all this hell. Nobody denies that. And then he finally wakes up from this coma. He's not corrupted by the hiss, but he has an implant, a fail safe. Now, a lot of people, like I said, equate that with a bomb. Like, okay, if he, does something that freaks us out, we're going to execute him.
Right.
How is that fair? How is that humane? How is that, and it's all because that's their creation. You know, this would be their creation, and they just want to create and destroy at their own leisure,
Right.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, going back to Ordinary, like with Jessie, I mean, she was able, as far as we know, able to escape, even though she was older than Dylan. She wasn't that much older than Dylan, so I would be curious to see how she was able to survive all those years, even being, what was she, like 12, 13 or something? Yeah, 11. Yeah, being a 11-year-old girl just out in the world. So
Well, we talked about that. We talked about the alternate, you know, reality thing.
Right, yeah.
Like where maybe that didn't happen. And maybe like, and according to that document, they brought in more than one child because they said upon maturity.
Right.
So whoever they brought in, and there were 2 of them, I'm guessing they're talking about Jessie and Dylan. And then there's the kid's drawing that I found a few years ago underneath Dylan's bed in the containment cell in the P6.
Yeah.
So...
But yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone would be able to argue though that he would have had a better life if the FBC hadn't snatched him up. I mean, even though all the adults in Ordinary had just disappeared, I'm sure he had some sort of relatives, or even
the state.
Would have been better than
Something.
FBC. Doing what they did to him.
Right. And like, you know, we always hear about how like a lot of foster cares aren't, you know, that great. I mean, but I think what happened to him at the FBC was probably just as bad or worse because he couldn't escape at all. Like when you're out in the world, whether you're with your parents or foster parents or whoever, you can run away.
You can, yeah.
You can't run away from the FBC.
Yeah.
Not when you're in a containment cell.
Yeah, exactly.
And he wasn't in there all the time. I know that. I'm very aware that it wasn't until until people died. And who even knows what they were doing to him? It's not even explained why he killed these people.
Right.
And one of the documents explains kind of like how twisted that guy up. Like, I don't even, it sounds super gruesome.
Yeah.
And we don't know if he did it with his hands, his mind, you know, like, was it, what kind of power was it that caused this horrible, like, gruesome death to this? It was like, I don't know if it was probably Roberts. I don't remember if it actually said the name, but because, you know, redacted.
Yeah.
But yeah, wasn't until like many people died that he got put in a containment. So I remember Dr. Darling saying that, you know, after, you know, he said like, you know, so many dead, and he should have listened to Marshall and Dylan's, and you know, they have him contained now. So it took for a lot of people to die in order for that to happen.
Right. Yeah.
So they didn't always have him in containment. I'd like to know where they had him though. What kind of life was he able to roam the halls of the FBC?
Right,
Was he able to go anywhere? Did they have a playground? Did they have toys? Did they have anything? I think a lot of people right now just kind of, and we talked about this whole like maybe possible accidental social experiment that came out of this, because everybody loved Dr. Darling.
Yeah.
And including us, and you know, the whole, you know, just like all of his shortcomings, which are huge shortcomings, just kind of, they got a pass. You know, he got a pass on everything.
He did, yeah.
Because they didn't show enough of the real him. You know, the person behind the white coat and the smile on the Dr. Darling presentations.
Right, yeah.
You know, yeah, I think that keeping that. Keeping us entertained, giving Matthew Peretta's voice, you know, Alan Wake's voice made us like him more, like we were talking about before. You know, there was a lot of it. I think us Remedy fans were just really psyched about that. Matthew Peretta's in it, and you know, it's him, and it's his voice, and it's Alan Wake's voice, and he's funny and charming, and you know, you just see just this little bit, and it's not enough. It turns out that it's not enough, and we're all realizing that now. I think we need to see and know more, and maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe there will be something that's positive behind it. I can't imagine what. I don't think Like for me, I don't think it's forgivable to just the one act, the initial, what started it all, and that was kidnapping a child. I think that one's, I wouldn't be able to get past that. So, which means that I can't, excuse anything he does after that, no matter how maybe he has a good heart underneath all that, scientist,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's not, like has a murderous, psychopath mind or whatever. But like, I can't bring myself to forgive that one act.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And, it would be nice to, kind of look behind the curtain and see what the real Dr. Darling is like. Because, again, we only get these glimpses of what he's like. And
what if he's just stupid?
Yeah.
How like we talk about like some people are so smart but they lack common sense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
he's just dumb. Like he's smart on this side, but he's dumb on the other.
Yeah. I mean, I could absolutely apply to Dr. Darling. Like he didn't see anything wrong with kidnapping this kid.
Well, it was him and it was Trench.
Yeah.
They did it together.
Yeah. And it's funny because Trench is actually the next point I was going to make about Dr. Darling, how, Darling and Trench, they work together. They're probably similar in many ways. And they're, kind of how we mentioned before, they're workaholics that they inadvertently neglect what is actually important, such as that one hotline call that you see with Trench. He
neglected his family.
He neglected his family. Yeah. He brought back
work.
He brought work home with him. His daughter got sick, and he wanted to bring her into to FBC.
Yeah.
Because he knew that like regular doctors weren't going to be able to do Jack. So yeah, and it seemed like Trench became pretty miserable after that. His daughter died, his wife left him, and then
all there was left was the whiskey.
Exactly. So, so
he lost it after a while.
Yeah, so he lost it after a while. And with Darling and Trench, kind of working, so closely together, I wonder if Darling did kind of pick up on a lot of, Trench's behaviors and kind of incorporate it into his own.
Like what behaviors?
Just like with Trench neglecting his family, and again, we don't know if Darling has a family, but in Darling neglecting Dylan.
I sort of think he was just like that anyway.
Right.
Like we were talking about, like so focused, the tunnel vision thing.
Yeah, just laser.
I don't think there was room
right.
in his life for like Trench, if he already had a family and all that. That's what he wanted. If Dr. Darling doesn't have a family, it's never what he wanted.
Right.
Because just like Emily, it's all about the work. It's all about the science. It's all about the discovery and the hope of something new. And so it's like I don't know without knowing more. And like I've had these discussions before. It's like, okay, let's not assume too much. We can only go off of what we're shown, and what we're shown is very little. What we read, I think there's more. That's where most of the good information comes from, is what we read.
Yeah,
not the Darling presentations are informational, and it's rehearsed and acted. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean just for the game. I mean that's it's supposed to be how it is in the story, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think that the documents are a lot more important. And then when it does come to the Darling presentations, I think the ones that we can take something away from are, the one where he's drunk, where his inhibitions are lowered. And then also at the very end when he is just kind of losing it, because those ones he's just kind of just rattling off whatever. It's not scripted. So, I mean, those are only a few videos of Darling that I think are, that we can actually kind of,
a little bit of humanity.
Yeah, a little bit of humanity.
But when you're drunk, you're not really you.
Right. Yeah.
So it's hard to say. Like I said, he was acting kind of just like flippant. But what if he wasn't drunk? Would he, would he actually seem like he cares more?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard.
So it's really complicated. They made him, actually really a complicated character that we because all we see is these good things and these presentations, and we don't hear him like we hear Carla asking Dylan these questions that are really frustrating him, that cause him to get out of control. And it's like, why does Darlene let anyone go question him after even just the one person got killed? So they're in there, asking questions, and one of them, like, he gets really mad, and then remember it cuts off, and you hear this noise and stuff, and then it cuts off because he got pissed. So they're like constantly like provoking him. Yeah. What day is it? He doesn't have a calendar. He has no idea probably even what year it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was my final point. It is definitely hard to know with only given a little bit of information with Darling. And like I said at the beginning of the discussion about Darling, a lot of this is speculation, but I think it is kind of good to look at both sides and try to come up with some sort of conclusion.
Yeah, well, like you said, you were playing devil's advocate, and I mean that's hard to do right now because most of us, like, we want like Dylan as like a squishmallow, and like hug him a lot. And just like give him all these hugs because he deserves it, because we all feel, like there's the, like maternal, and you don't even have to be a parent. You have maternal instinct, paternal instinct, and or even just familial type, feelings about like, and if you're a good person, empathy, sympathy, whatever, like people feel for this guy. And I think it should be this way. And I think Remedy probably wanted it to be this way. I mean, why would they want us to not, like, just based off of what we're hearing in these recordings and what Dr. Darling is saying, because we get that too. We also don't get a lot of Dylan. We don't get anything but documents and a few recordings. So like they're the same in a way. Yeah. We don't know much else about them. We know what Dylan was like, at least, from documentation, what they documented of him when he was a kid, cooperating, answering questions, whatever, until he gets to the FBC and they start that recording about him. They're asking where Jesse is. And he's like, why? Yeah. Like, why are you asking me this stuff? I don't know, like where she might be. They were asking her where she might be. And that might be when they realized that he wasn't going to cut it as director. But again, because of the P7 room, it seemed like they already knew, or at least should have already known where she was, because they were keeping tabs on her. Yeah. So that didn't make any sense to me, unless, again, we're talking about different realities, different versions of the situation. Maybe it was Jesse and not Dylan. Matter of fact, weren't they going to have it to where, and I know we have covered some of this before, but we're sort of like kind of rehashing some of this and adding to it because it's become, a bigger thing the closer we get to like a release date or with, new information. And, it could have been Jesse. There was that kid's drawing with Jesse's name on it, as if she were the one that drew it. And, we don't know. We don't know how many versions of this story. They were going to have it to where, that's what I was going to say, they were going to have it to where originally you would be able to choose if you played as Jesse or Dylan. So maybe they have both versions that they're keeping. Maybe that artifact, or actually not even collectible, you can't collect it, and you can, if you do it very carefully, you can get that picture out from under the bed, but you can never pick it up. You can just examine it closer. And we've been over that. We did a video on it, and I think we posted it on, did you post it on the Remedy This podcast?
No, I haven't yet. I know we were talking about.
Okay, so we're going to put that up then. We're going to put some of our newer videos, our most recent videos, and on that. That way people can go get everything in one place.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just go to go to the World Wide Web and go. I I can't say it. Oh man, when was the last time you heard somebody refer to it as the World Wide Web?
Oh man, it's been a while.
I think we should start referring to it as that.
I think so.
I
Let's
think
bring
that
it
we
back.
should bring back old school stuff.
Let's do it.
You could just go totally old school.
I think so.
Start, using some old school slang, and people will stop watching us though.
Yeah.
We're listening. We're not gonna. I don't want to stay a faceless channel forever, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think that was a really good discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it was awesome. I mean, I think I don't think we've actually really had this discussion where any one of us played devil's advocate for Darling.
Yeah. I don't think we have, but both sides. There's some really good points, and but again, in the end, we both agree that Darling is a less than desirable person.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, just because he's not proven to be a psychopath, or a murderer, of sort. I mean, actually, he kind of did murder all those people. It's his fault,
Right.
because Dylan was his project, his pet, whatever. If it's a chain reaction, if he hadn't taken Dylan with Trench, if he didn't take him, didn't put him through that stuff, didn't turn him into this, what they kind of describe or kind of insinuate as this monster, this scary guy who kills people. I mean, whose fault was that,
Yeah.
So, you could pin it back to them, like Dylan is the weapon, and they pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, this was a good discussion, and maybe we can have one again about who could we do next?
Yeah.
Langston.
Yeah. Langston would
Langston
be a good
would be
one.
good. I like Langston, but I think he's a little shifty. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually turns out to be part of a para-criminal, association like Blessed.
Yeah.
But he is also very entertaining and funny, especially if you hang out and listen to things he says. What does he say about 69?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a containment breach
in
cell 69.
Cell 69, yeah.
And the Rangers, they're messing with him. They're like, we don't see what's so funny about containment breach on cell 69. He's like, but you just said it, 69. He's totally funny, but he knows a lot. He knows a lot, and he's also escaped things more than once. I just happened to be somewhere else when this happened.
Right.
That many times, dude? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, even once is lucky. More than once is, you sure you didn't know that was going to happen?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I could be totally wrong. But Langston, I like that character, and that's probably all the more reason to be suspicious of him.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think Langston would be a good next choice to discuss.
Yeah, we can go over some of him, so.
I think so.
I think that'd be fun.
For sure.
But unless anything new comes out for Control Resonant, then we'll just kind of keep on picking people. I do want to go over some Alan Wake 2 stuff. Like we were to talk about the Bookers.
Yeah, that's right.
And, what happened to him. Because we know Tammy just sort of disappeared. We saw Ed in the lake house, but that was about it. So
Yeah.
we'll do it.
Let's do it, yeah. All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up here.
Yeah, it's probably a good place to stop.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to our next discussion.
Me too.
See you again on the 19th.
Sounds good.